Welcome to another edition of the Take 3 Wrestling Podcast here in quarantine, South Florida. I'm your host, Earnest Christian, coming to you, not live, but we're going to do the same thing. On the line, of course, the Wrestling Savants, the host of the... What's your name podcast again, Michael?
The name subject to change.
Is it going to change?
What?
Is it ever going to change? No, right?
No.
Mike Grenier, and of course, Joe Lopez on Twitter. Yeah, right? Fellas, what's up?
Nothing.
So I'm looking up most bizarre matches on the WWE Network because it's a new segment that they have. Of course, they have the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match. But other matches include the Monster Truck Sumo match from Halloween Havoc 95.
Ugh.
The Chamber of Horrors match from Halloween Havoc 1991.
Ugh.
CM Punk versus Chavo Guerrero in a Gulf of Mexico match from ECW WWE version.
What?
Yeah.
That's weird. I don't even remember that match.
Wait, you
Is
said...
that what CM Punk
wait,
dressed
Mike,
like
you said most bizarre matches? Bizarre?
Yes, that's what it's called.
Okay.
CM Punk
Isn't that when
versus Chavo
CM
Guerrero
Punk
in a
dressed like
Gulf
a
of Mexico.
mariachi at one point? Am I wrong?
I don't think so. The New Day battle against the Wyatt family in like a brawl or whatever. It looks like they're at the Wyatt family compound. Henry O. Godwin versus Triple H in a hog pen match. Chris Candido versus Terry Funk for the hardcore title on a WCW Thunder. That looks like they're at a horse stable. And then, of course, the greatest match in probably wrestling history. I don't care what the fuck you want to say.
Wait, can I guess?
Kane versus... Yes.
Wait.
Which one?
Is it the Dustin Rhodes and Blacktop Blackjack, whatever his name was, on the truck?
That might be in further, but that's not the match I'm talking about. I do see the Battle of Breakfast cereal, which was a May 1st match. I have no idea what the fuck that is. I might have to check that out. But no, the greatest match happened at WCW New Blood Rising in 2000. It is Canyon versus Buff Bagwell in a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match.
And by the way, guys, a little plug for you guys. Check out the podcast, too, the episode that just dropped today. They went through all the pay-per-views of 2011, which I need to go through as well, too, because as I told you guys before, anything between 2005 and 2013 is a blur.
Now, listen, that episode is a long show, so you're going to want to fit it between... You're going to want to fit it between your morning nap and your afternoon nap during quarantine.
Right.
We did a lot of work for you, so you didn't have to. Because, that year sucks.
Well, other than CM Punk, of course.
5-way pinata on a pole match. What do you mean? I'm sorry, I just saw the match that I have to watch now.
Oh my god.
All right, let's get to the news dump real quick. We've got two things I want to cover for news dump before we get to our topics. First off, we lost a legend, of course, last week. The Howard Finkel, passed away at the age of 69. This one hit me, obviously, in the field, especially, just like me and Dean last January when he passed away. Howard Finkel, another voice of my childhood. I mean, he was what I will always call Howard Finkel the cherry on top of the product that the WWF and WWE has been for the last 30 to 40 years. You know, basically and just the kind of just the way he presented. He made the events bigger than it is. Oh, actually, it is big, but this made it big. Just the bigness of it all. Finkel, I mean, obviously he's had some health issues the last couple of years, but this one hit me last week, man. So thoughts and prayers to his family, friends, all that, in the WWE universe. Fellas, any regards to Howard Finkel and just the impact he had on the WWE and ring announcers as a whole?
I mean, it's funny. I've heard other announcers and play-by-play people and stuff being referred to as the voice of wrestling, but man, having grown up with 80s WWF, Howard Finkel is the voice of wrestling.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, Fink had the longest WrestleMania streak of all time, which came to an end, I believe, last year. I don't think he did the Hall of Fame.
Correct.
Stuff. So, his streak ended. It was longer than The Undertaker's. He was also undefeated. So, yeah, it sucks that Fink is gone. There'll be a big void from wrestling, but I know Fink had his own medical issues leading into his untimely passing. So it's one of those things where it's almost like you're glad that he's not hurting anymore, but it sucks that a part of our wrestling fandom and childhood is no longer with us. Thoughts and prayers to Fink and everybody who had the great ability to meet Fink and get to work with him in one way, shape, or form.
Right. It's funny when I started watching again last year. One of the things that I had to get used to, I had a hard time getting used to, was the ring announcers. And I'm not saying the guys they have now aren't great; they're actually really damn good. But I was so used to how Finkle his voice. The following contest, there's one fall, and it's this kind of he has these taglines. When he reads down the Royal Rumble rules, for example. You know what I mean? On the floor. That kind of thing. It's a signature of everything. Like, Vince has all the, obviously you have the Hogans and all the wrestlers and the talent and all that. You got the Mean Genes. Fink was always, again, the cherry on top of the entire product.
I would argue that he was, like, he had the potential to be as famous as the guy is, like,
Buffer?
Who's the guy that gets like $1 million just for saying, let's get ready to rumble? Yeah, Buffer. Like, he had that potential. It's just that he never branched outside of the very niche world of pro wrestling. But he had that. Like, for those of us who are fans inside of pro wrestling, like, who that's the level that he is to us.
Can I argue that just looking at it from straight up, he's probably better than Buffer because?
Oh, he's definitely better. Not as famous. That's what I was saying.
Right.
But definitely better.
I don't know if he's better than Buffer.
Buffer's good, but Howard.
I don't know if Buffer's the best Buffer.
Bruce or Michael? Which?
I like his brother that does the UFC more.
Oh, okay.
He's sassy as fuck.
That's what I'm saying. He gets into the intros.
Yes,
like,
he
you're
does.
watching a UFC card, and you'll see him get ready to announce, like, Conor McGregor. Like, he's up in McGregor's face, like, hyping him up, and, like, even the fighters are like, yeah, motherfucker, get loud, let's go. Like, I feel like it pumps them up even more.
I feel like part of that, though, is, like, Michael Buffer has been paid so much to just say the same thing over and over again that it's like after the, like, $100 million that he's collected for it, right, you're just like, I don't really care who's coming out, just, like, rumble guys.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I love Bruce, because he gets into the nicknames, he gets into, like, records, and it's like,
yes.
You're the reigning defending champion. He gives you the full, like, this man has won 4 straight title fights. He's knocked 3 of them out because he just doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, he just goes that extra level, and I love whenever he goes that extra level. I think he gets people into it so hard.
Right. Anyway, go ahead.
Can I mention the fact that I'm watching this piñata on a pole match, and literally the piñata fell off of the pole 8 seconds into the match when somebody tried to do a shoulder block and missed and hit the pole that it was on, and the piñata fell to the ground. And literally, Juventud Guerrera has just taken the piñata off of the floor, picked it up, and shooken all the candy out.
Well, what else are you supposed to do once it falls? It's like you guys aren't even Hispanic.
Dr. Death is now in here killing. Dr. Death is now in here killing all the cruiserweights with whatever Ed Ferrara's name, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Jim Ross knockoff.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, kind of bad.
And again, once again, our thoughts and prayers to the Finkle family and friends and the WWE wrestling universe as a whole. We're obviously missing Finkle today. Another bit of news today. Yes, right. Another big piece of news today dropped. The Revival, formerly the Revival, obviously they had the release from WWE a couple weeks ago. They revealed their new name. It is now called the Revolt. Now, they have not been signed to a promotion as yet. Obviously, these uncertain times are now with the virus and obviously business being altered. Obviously, is probably gonna keep that to a hold until things progress. But the Revolt, fellas, I like the name actually. I don't mind it. It keeps it close to what they were to some degree. I guess.
It's definitely the indie version of that, which is what happens when these things happen. So,
okay,
Michael, that's it. It's like he was Christian and now he's Christian Cage. It's like it's the same. It always happes in pro wrestling. We all just gotta be used to it.
Right, Michael. Your thoughts on the new name of the your boy? That's your boys, man.
They are the top guys. I kind of wish they would have went with something different to branch themselves away from WWE. Like, I wish they would have went with something like, let's be like the Executioners, or let's be like something like just off of the beaten path. Like, I get but they're trying to like keep like the mainstream appeal, but the thing is, if your reality is that you're going to go into AEW and feud with the Young Bucks, FTR,
right?
You could have made the R anything else that started with an R that doesn't sound like Revival.
Honestly, though, I'll say this. Like, I get your point, and, like, yeah, they should. It sucks that, like, it's always about playing off of things that WWE, yada, 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 but
That's my thing. I just hate that.
But honestly, the sad part is, like, that's the pro wrestling industry, at least the American pro wrestling industry, I feel like, as a whole. Like, most of them are going out of their way to make some sort of referential WWE statement, you know what I mean? Like Cody coming out and destroying the throne and stuff like that. Like, you don't need it. You shouldn't do it, but it's just commonplace. So, yeah, like, it would have been cool if they went with something completely different that didn't remind you of their WWE names, but that's just not how it works.
Sometimes petty, sometimes,
the Renegades.
Yeah.
FDR, fuck the Renegades.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, as you know, we just do it on the show. We do the 3 takes. Each of us going to bring a take for the week to debate for about up to 50 minutes. So I think mine should go first, though, because I think mine is serious business, and it kind of loops with what we just discussed with the Revolt, a.k.a. formerly the Revival. Anyway, as you guys remember, last week, Wednesday was Black Wednesday in WWE, where they released tons of talent, tons of employees. Some got furloughed, some didn't. A lot of surprising names there on my end. I'll ask you guys first. Of the many names, the talented guys, in-ring workers that was released last Wednesday, which ones or multiple surprised you the most? Mike, want to go first?
Do you guys remember the list? Because I'm going to go over the list.
I'll bring it up to you. I figured I had a list already, but I'll go ahead and I'll bring it up now. Mike, go ahead and pick yours if you have any already.
I mean, I guess I'm really surprised that they got rid of any of the people really from NXT. I felt like that those guys were possibly going to be, the ones that were saved because, a lot of them are in the Orlando area. So I figured that you would get a bunch of them staying on together. So a lot of those guys that got cut, your Deonna Purrazzo's, your Cassius Ohno, those two surprised me. The one that surprised me really more than anything else right now is probably Sarah Logan, who I think is going to end up back in WWE because, her husband's there.
Wasn't she on TV on one day, the 2 days before that?
Yeah, she was being used a lot. Okay, but not for nothing. But they've been trying to, sort of push her for the last, the better part of this year. As weird as this year has been, they had her in the Elimination Chamber and stuff like that. But the girl's not over. I don't mean to sound mean or anything, but she's just, she's not bad, but she's not someone who anyone ever seems to be excited about. And part of that is the booking. I mean, that really is. They really could have done a better job and, made her feel like she mattered more. The whole Riot Squad storyline within the Elimination Chamber that ended up getting ignored at the actual Elimination Chamber, that should have gone places for her. So I'm not surprised that she got cut because, quite frankly, I mean, at a certain point, you keep trying with people and it doesn't, it's not working with what you're trying. And yeah, maybe part of that is that you're not trying the right thing, but at a certain point, you also just have to be well, it's just not working,
Okay. Was she the most shocking one to you, Mike? Sarah Logan?
I would say if it's not her, then it's got to be the release of probably Gallows and Anderson, but I feel like they're ready to go back to Japan. I don't feel like they have any reason that they want to stay here. I mean, I'm probably really surprised that they got rid of Drake Maverick, who's been really good on 205 Live, but...
Yeah, OC did surprise me, especially, too, the fact that last year, I thought they signed a new deal with them, I think, last summer.
Yeah, no, apparently a lot of these guys that got released had, pretty, deals that were meant to last until 2024 or something.
I have the list. Well, I guess first, Joe, you want to reveal yours first before we go? Because mine was the OC also.
You got to give them the full list so we can pick somebody.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
fine. So let's do this then. Let's go. I guess 1 to 10.
List them off one by one, and we'll give give rapid view takes.
Right. 1 to 10. Rank 1 to 10. 10 being most surprising. 1 least surprising from each player. Yeah. Each guy here. Okay. Cool. Kurt Angle. He retired. 4. Okay.
Yeah, I guess a 4. I'll go 4.
I go 3. I mean, again,
I'm surprised they released him, but I'm not surprised that he got released because it's one of those things where it's like, man, who cares?
Yeah,
right,
and
exactly. Now, wait. Here's a question, too.
Mm-hmm.
Was he on, like, a regular talent contract or just
No.
a legend contract?
Well, he wrestled
no,
last year WrestleMania, right? And I guess I don't know
Right,
how
well,
that
that's
works.
the thing.
He
Like,
was-
look,
His
there's a big
contract was
difference.
basically like a writer
Okay.
/ legend contract.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like we'll see him again anyway, to be honest with you, once things get normalized again. This one was really hurt, seeing his thing. Drake Maverick.
8.
I don't know that I was that surprised by it, but I'm sort of sad by it just because of how he's reacted. Like, you feel kind of bad seeing someone's dream die. I hope
I
they
was surprised
rehire
because he was a big part of 205 Live, and it just got announced for that cruiserweight interim tournament thing.
I go
So
9.
like, I was really surprised that they let him go with all that stuff going on.
Well, I'll go 9. I'm with you, Mike. I'm going to go one step further. I'll go 9.
I'm gonna go 6.
24/7.
Because honestly, no, I'm gonna go 5. Because as much as he's been a big part of 205 Live, let's be real, WWE never really has that much
Yeah.
They're never that dedicated to the cruiserweights or that show or anything. So I don't know if they care that much that he was a big part of that.
Right. Kurt Hawkins.
4.
I'm gonna go 3. I was surprised that he was still working there.
I guess I'll go 3. I guess.
He's a guy that works perfect when they have house shows because him and Ryder can have tag matches against whoever.
All
Yeah.
right. I'll combine these two. Gallows and Anderson, I'm going to go 10 on that one. Because I thought they're actually probably the biggest surprise to me because they're on TV regularly every week.
Yes, I'm going to agree with you. That's a 10. That's the one that I think that surprises me the most.
Right.
And I would just like to point out, in complete and utter kayfabe terms, The Undertaker killed these people. Because that's the last thing we'll ever have
That's
seen about
true.
on WWE television is The Undertaker killing them, and then they never existed on WWE TV again. So
Here's my problem
saying.
with giving the OC a 10.
Okay.
When was the last time the two of them had a fucking tag match on Raw?
Probably before the pandemic.
Probably
Yeah.
before Royal Rumble.
You think
All
so?
they've
Really?
been is
Honestly,
AJ's
though,
lackeys.
But that's the thing, though. But they were part of a big act in the
Right.
company actively.
Yeah, with AJ Styles and weaving through everything, you got to go through this guy, and
And-
they were active on that roster.
Let me put it like this: of this whole list of people, they're the only ones that were both and part of a really popular act that was being used really well, and that didn't, as far as we know, actively want to leave. Because, you could be surprised that Rusev got released, or
That's
the
not a surprise at
Revival,
all.
but that's not a surprise because those guys have been pretty vocal about not really wanting to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So now that WWE is in a position, every company in the world right now is trying to save some sort of money, yeah, you get rid of the people who have been pretty vocal for the last 8 months that they don't want to be there.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
agree.
place to start.
And
Right.
and to boot, also, weren't they the greatest tag team champions in the world per October last year? Just
Yep.
saying.
Yep.
No, they're the greatest Saudi Arabian tag team. No, I'll give it a 7 or an 8.
Okay.
But I mean, at the end of the day, they weren't doing anything. They were fucking AJ's lackeys. If they were a team that was competing for the titles every week on Raw, and then they're just all right, see you later, guys. I mean, they won a tournament. They had one title match, and that was it. They'd never fought for the titles again.
Okay. All right, Heath Slater, fellas, you go.
I was surprised he was still working there. I'm gonna put a 5.
Okay.
Because it was starting to feel like he was gonna be a lifer, even if he never got actually pushed again. But it's still it's not that surprising.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on the lines of a 4.
Okay. Eric Young.
2.
Yeah, that's a 2, and I'm really sad that he never went anywhere in the company because he.
The minute they moved Sanity up to the main roster, he died.
EC3.
Fuck him. He's too I'm this greatest fucking thing since sliced bread.
I don't know who he is.
Motherfucker
I
had a
can't.
concussion
A
in
lot of these
Bristol.
names here in the middle, I don't really familiar with, honestly. EC3, they're
Okay,
before. They
he had a
predated me.
concussion for a year and a half, and hasn't been seen since. I'm sorry. Are you ever gonna not have a concussion? Maybe if you had actually, I don't know, been in the ring, you could have actually made something of yourself rather than just being a mediocre fucking throwaway because you got hurt and then never got healthy.
Okay.
I mean, but to be fair,
everybody on blast about how they're wrong.
To be fair, like, just being concussion prone in any sport isn't the thing that's going to be the kiss of death. It's also that you actually have to have some sort of talent, which is like what EC3 lacks. So
that's my point. Like, maybe if you would have, I don't know, been halfway decent, like, you could have gotten over. But the fact of the matter is you couldn't really, like, you were kind of over in NXT because your song was catchy, but that was it.
Okay.
Like, his in-ring work in NXT wasn't great.
Let me speak through these right now because there's some better names on the back end. I want to get some time on this one. So let's go to some bigger names here. Okay, you said Sarah Logan. Leo Rush. That was a surprise for me also too. Although we heard some stuff about him having some infighting with management, and there's a thing with him and apparently with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, I mean, he's another one of them.
For saying something.
Pardon me?
He's another one of them that seemed like he's wanted to quit. I think he's suffering. Honestly, look, I think he's someone that is he has some mental health issues.
Didn't he get in trouble for saying something stupid on social media?
Apparently, yes.
Yeah.
But he also has been vocal on social media about suffering from depression and stuff like that. And I think he's just been unhappy in WWE. So again, I think he's one of those cuts that, like, yeah, it's surprising because WWE was trying to get the best out of him because he is a really talented guy, but he didn't really want to be there anyway. So, you know,
he'd be great at AEW. To be perfectly honest, he'd be great. At AEW.
He'd be the same as 20 other guys in AEW. I'd rather see him in like NWA or like ROH or somewhere where he would stand out because honestly, AEW is the land of midgets as it is.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So my grade here's a 7 on Leo Rush. You guys quickly.
I'll give him a 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd go 5.
Okay.
He was good on 205 Live too, but like Joe said, nobody gives a fuck about the cruiserweights.
This is surprising though, considering the circumstances, because him being misused and just not finding a place. Eric Rowan, not surprising me personally.
Bye.
He might be like more surprising than the OC to me because he was getting over. They were doing a lot of big stuff with him in the last year or so.
Well, to be honest, once there was a little spot in the summertime where he was getting some solo matches with Roman Reigns and whatnot. But after that, I mean, after him and Daniel Bryan broke up, I didn't see really any quality stuff for him. I mean, that dumb spider angle they did recently. I mean, that's come on.
Okay, that was WWE being terrible at booking.
Exactly.
Right, that wasn't Rowan.
No. I'm not blaming Rowan. I'm blaming WWE for that.
Okay, his thing was he's another one. Unfortunately, like EC3, he had a lot of good opportunities. Bludgeon Brothers gets hurt. Wyatt family gets hurt. This is the first time in like the bulk of his career where he didn't get dinged up and become injury prone during a run that he had. And he was starting over with the fans. So it's unfortunate like that he gets released, but I feel like he's a guy, and I'm gonna say he's gonna go be part of the fucking Dark Order.
Oh, yeah.
See, okay, here's the thing. I know he's gonna end up in AEW. There's no question he's gonna end up in AEW. If they have him as either part of the Dark Order or feuding with the Dark Order, if he has anything to do with Brody Lee in any capacity, fuck you guys. This is already what's wrong with pro wrestling. Like,
I agree.
Bring him in and let him become his own big star.
Then if he's gonna do that, then don't even bring him in to AEW. Put him on NWA.
That's too obvious. I agree 100%. This one for me, very unsurprising. The couple, the Kanellis couple, Mike Kanellis, Maria Kanellis, they've been rumored to be one out there for a while.
Whoa.
Not a surprise at all for me. 1.
Yeah, I get like a 3.
Michael?
I'm gonna definitely say like a 4 or 5 because at the end of the day, like they had a lot built up for them, and then Maria got pregnant, which was unfortunate, on the build, not unfortunate on her getting pregnant. But the other thing that you have to remember is, again, he was one that got jet streamed right to the main roster. Didn't go to NXT, didn't do anything on NXT
okay.
where he could have been a lot better in my mind.
Oh, wow, okay. I didn't know that. Let's save the last 2 minutes for this one, because obviously, folks are surprised with this one, obviously, but I'm not. I mean, we've heard for months that he's not happy there. Rusev. It's a 2.
Yeah.
Maybe a 2.
He's one of the ones that it feels like he should be a 10, but because of how vocal he's been about wanting to leave and stuff like that, and honestly, he can go be a huge star in AEW. He can go
Agreed.
be a huge star anywhere, pretty much. So I'm gonna go like a 7 on the release because you know what? No, I'm gonna go like 8 or 9 because honestly, let's go at 9 because as much as it's not a surprise because he wanted it, it's still sort of a surprise that WWE was willing to let go of such a talented guy.
And he's still over too. He's still really over.
Yeah,
I'm with Joe. It's like I'm gonna give it like an 8 or a 9 because it's like it's surprising that WWE let somebody go that they obviously know is gonna go to one of the competitors and is gonna get over and is gonna be a thorn in their side.
Right.
Because WWE normally never does this. It's normally like, nope, you're staying.
right.
Well, you can blame the
I'm
pandemic to that, though.
I'm more surprised that they let him go.
Um,
I'm not going to blame the pandemic on that. I mean, honestly, they needed to trim some of the roster as it was because they were getting way too deep and having way too many guys sit around and do nothing for months at a time. And I think that's another thing. For with the example of Gallows and Anderson, those guys like to wrestle, and the fact that they're not wrestling because all they're doing is cutting promos with AJ, maybe those guys want it out.
Oh, the bottom line is this: it's like people made a big deal about the whole Black Wednesday thing. I mean, these names are other than a few are not that surprising. They weren't active in the roster. They weren't active anyway in the roster outside of say the OC and Sarah Logan and maybe who else? Eric Rowan. That's it.
I'm also surprised that they got rid of what's his name. Damn it, where'd it go? I had it up here a second ago. I'm surprised they cut Aiden English.
Oh,
yes, that was here too. The list, yeah, that was on the list.
Because he was becoming really good as a commentator.
Mm.
Yeah, but they have lots of commentators.
That's true.
Who probably get paid less. I wonder if you're like a wrestler and you move into a commentator. Like, do you still just get paid your wrestler salary? Because I'm imagining most of them get paid.
I don't think so. I don't think so. If I had to guess, it'd be no.
Right.
Also, very surprised that they got rid of Mike Chioda.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Mike, the longtime referee, 31 years in the company.
That's a 9.
That's definitely, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, of course. All right, so that's the list. Who's next? I think it's Mike.
I'll go.
Okay.
All right, my topic for this week's lovely conversation is if you could change 2 things in wrestling history, no matter how in-depth, no matter how completely out of right field you want to go. If you could change 2 things in wrestling history, what would they be and why?
Ooh.
I will let you all answer, and then I will come through with mine because one of you very, very well may take one of mine. So I'm glad I came up with like 4.
Okay, let me go first then. Mine's pretty simple. Mine's a simple one. So I didn't put too much thought in this one necessarily. But I've been saying for years, I always wondered. Now obviously this time was different. This is the 80s. Obviously. But I always wondered, had Vince allowed Macho to be Hogan at WrestleMania 5? And let that... Because I feel like one of the things about that rivalry I didn't like is that there was too much more juice to that rivalry, but the minute that Hogan got the belt, like, Macho was still one of the top 3 or 4 guys in the company, but they didn't do much with it. I felt like if you were booking... Like, the way they book wrestling today and have in the last 20 years, because it's more active, it's more, week-to-week TV and all that, I felt like... Imagine if they actually allowed Macho to win that match and prolong that rivalry into SummerSlam that year instead of doing the stupid fucking tag match with fucking Zeus and Brutus the fucking Bar Beefcake. You know what I mean? Had they used booking that they've done the last 20 years, then I could have seen Macho, in that rivalry. I don't know. I feel like that could have got more. The end of that rivalry was kind of sad, honestly. I thought they could have got more out of that, but they wanted to put the movie with Zeus as a priority, and then War was getting over that point too, and all that. I get all that. So that's one. The other thing also for me too is I wonder what if Bret Hart never left in '97? Let's say Bret Hart stayed. Let's say, okay, we'll make it work. I'll take a pay cut. I'll stay long. Now remember too. Also, this is the surge of Austin. HBK's back healthy, and he's obviously top heel in the company, arguably. But Bret Hart's still there in the mix. Do we get Austin HBK at WrestleMania 14? Because Bret Hart was still really over as a heel at that time, too. Do we still get that?
Here's the thing. On the ladder that you're talking about, I feel like you still would have gotten that, but you also wouldn't have got the end of Shawn Michaels, because if you don't have the screw job, that means that you don't have Michaels versus Taker in the casket match where Michaels hurts his back hitting the casket on the way over.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
you
get
don't
more-
like. There's
you
gonna be
get
a lot
more
of
out
history changing out of there.
Yeah, you get more, like, even if you tell Brett, okay, we want you to drop the belt, and stay on long term, and he takes the pay cut, but he says, I want to drop the title to Austin. So then maybe you get Austin versus Brett at WrestleMania instead of Austin versus Michaels.
Right.
And you still get the birth of Stone Cold Steve Austin there.
Look, I'll say this. I feel like Bret Hart leaving the WWF is like one of the biggest butterfly effect possible moments in wrestling history, where if he doesn't leave, who knows how many things are different? Who knows how different people get over or don't get over? Who knows if Triple H ever becomes the world heavyweight champion? Who knows? I hate to even take it there, but like, who knows if Owen Hart passes away the way he did? You know what I mean? Like, would he have been involved as the Blue Blazer if Bret was still around in the company and they were still just doing a Hart Foundation thing?
And only that, too. Only that. Joe, that's going to
if they were
too,
both
also.
there together, would he have talked his brother out of, like, would he have been like, that's a stupid idea, don't do that even, you know what I mean? Like,
and only that, and Joe, only that also, too, I think also in that era of factions, Hart Foundation was already going strong. You continue that now, too, also. You don't need Owen and that part to go to Blue Blazer. Maybe Owen's still alive because they keep the Hart Foundation as a Hart Foundation for another year or two beyond that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like the Bret Hart staying or going to WWF is probably one of the biggest butterfly effect moments in pro wrestling. Like, who knows what kind of universe it would have been in? Like, we might all be allowed to go to the park right now if Bret Hart had stayed in WWF.
Probably not.
You just don't know. Butterfly effect. Horrible action.
Joe, I like that. That's a nice swerve, buddy.
I mean, it's true.
I like that swerve. Okay, Joe, you want to do yours first before Mike's?
Yeah, geez, I got to think of them. I'm trying to think of them on the spot. Well, I feel like one obvious one. I would love to see the Sting Hulk Hogan match from Starrcade '97 actually go down without a fucking hitch. Because honestly, it's one of the best built storylines in pro wrestling history, hands down. They milked that thing to the utters were just like empty. It was exciting. It was everything. They built to this huge moment, and then we all know the stories. We all know what possibly happened. We all know who says this, who says that. It's been discussed a million times. All I'm going to say is, if that match had gone down without a hitch, if that match had gone down being like, it would never have been a 5-star classic. It never would have been that.
No.
But it could have been incredible. It could have been something that people remember, like The Rock and Hulk Hogan from WrestleMania 18, where, like, no one's ever going to say it was a wrestling clinic, but people talk fondly of it as being kind of a cool moment and everything. And guess what? They didn't mess anything up. So I feel like that's like Sting and Hogan, people remember for how botched it was, as opposed to for how it was the awesome finale of a great storyline. So I would like to see that. Like, if I had to change something, I would change that to somehow actually be done well.
Real quick, Joe. To me, that match was in December '97. To me, that was the absolute peak of WCW, the WCW, the wars. Because from that point on, right after that match, everything fell apart for WCW.
Yeah. 100%, because at that point, from that point forward, I felt like viewers who had invested a lot of time and stuff were finally realizing that no matter how much we invest in this and how excited we want to be, they're going to find a way to screw it up, and it's just going to be stupid. So why do I care?
And the book was
feel like that's
horrible.
Really, like, if that had gone down without a hitch, if that match had been awesome, if people had been talking about it for how cool it was and stuff, maybe WCW doesn't start to go down the fucking toilet in '98. Who knows?
Because it wasn't for lack of talent. So right now they were stacked.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And the other thing, what were we talking? What was the topic? Just something I could change?
Yeah.
Yes.
So like anything.
Anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you approach this topic and not say, like, let's keep Owen Hart alive? Like,
Yeah, that was definitely one of mine. That's why I figured one of you was going to take it. That's why I was like, let me have a couple as backup just in case.
And mind you, I'm not the world's biggest Owen Hart fan. I think that 94, he could have had a world title run.
That shocks me, actually.
Maybe a 10.
That shocks me.
Yeah.
That actually shocks me that you're not as big a fan. I thought you were a big.
I mean, I think he's fantastic. I think anything he did with Brett, anything around that era is great. I don't think he had that much, as much personality as some other people give him credit for. But even at the end of the day, I could have hated his guts. I could have thought he was the worst wrestler of all time. I'd still take back the moment where he died tragically and, lost out on the rest of his life. Even if he had retired from pro wrestling 6 weeks later, I'd still take back that moment so that he could have lived the rest of his life. How do you not go with that?
That's a good point. Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I definitely had that one. That was definitely probably the one that I was going to lead with mine, so I'm kind of glad Joe did because I get to go with something a little different now.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
First thing I would change is I've gone back and forth. Hold on, I got a hiccup.
On air hiccup.
Oh, God.
I am not in and out, for the record.
So, that's fine. First thing, this is going to be a weird one, but I just feel like it's one that I've sat back and thought about. I would tell Vince McMahon to not give Hulk Hogan creative control in his contract. Ever. So that if it made sense for him to lose a match like to Savage at WrestleMania 5, or even the match against Sid at WrestleMania 8, or not letting him walk out of WrestleMania 9 with the world title, or any of the other dumb shit that Hogan talked himself into being able to do, I would have told Vince to not allow Hogan to have creative control. Because he wouldn't have creative control in WCW, which means he could have lost the match to Sting clean. He could have lost the match to Goldberg without it having to be a shit show.
Can I react to that one real quick, Mike, with you? I actually agree with you on the back half of the WWF years. Like, I understand why he had to take control early on. It made sense. He made a lot of money for the company. Savage was a good draw. Hogan was a bigger draw. So it makes sense why. And by the way, mine was kind of one of yours too. I'd rather seen Savage win that match and get more juice out of the rivalry. But the booking early made sense. The booking late did not make sense. I agree with you on that end.
But that's the thing. We're talking about because he made money, but it didn't mean that he was the guy that should have been the champion. You can make money and not be the champion. A la John Cena. Guy hasn't been the champion in how long? Make out a new shirt. 7 million kids have the shirt. You're still making money because of the name John Cena.
I don't know. It's different. I mean, I guess he. I don't know.
It's not that different because here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
All Hogan had to do was fucking smile, and he got TV contracts. He got shows. He got commercials. He didn't have to have the title to do that stuff.
Here's what I'll agree with you on that one, Mike. On that one, you get to the second one in a second. His most underrated year was 1988/89 when he lost the title to Andre at the main event in February, and that whole run, the rest of the year, feuding with fucking Bossman, feuding with the Twin Towers, going into Savage. That was probably his most underrated year. He didn't have the belt either.
I'm saying because people were sick and tired of him fucking having the title 24/7.
I agree. I didn't enjoy. And by the way, I didn't really enjoy his second reign as champion as much as I thought I did. Like the '89 from being Savage the Warrior, not the greatest reign in my opinion, anyway. But this is me. Go ahead, bud.
No, definitely not. Second off, I went WCW related here, and then I have a third one that was from something different. So we'll go number 2. I would not have had Goldberg lose the title via the cattle prod.
Okay, but wait.
If he was gonna lose a match, that was your opportunity to get over someone that you either developed or that you got as like a free agent from WCW to come over to be the one that beat him.
Okay, wait. So wait. I have 2 questions for you now.
Okay, answers.
Let's follow up. Okay, number 1. Is your problem that he lost to Scott Hall or that he lost via cattle prod? Because those are 2 different things.
I'm mad that he lost via the cattle prod.
So it's okay that he lost to Scott
after
Hall.
Kevin Nash beat him?
Oh, that's Nash. All right, Nash beat him. Right.
Nash beat him. Scott Hall
right. That's cattle prod.
Right.
Taser.
Okay, so wait. If it hadn't been Kevin Nash, if it had been I don't know, name someone who could have gone over huge at
Diamond
that
Dallas
time.
Page.
Yeah. If it had been Diamond Dallas Page, it'd be a cattle prod. Would you have a problem with it?
I hated the fact that it was cattle prod.
Okay. So
It
Kevin
has
Nash,
nothing to
okay.
do with the person that got the victory after it was used. I hated the fact that it was via cattle prod.
I'm not a Goldberg
Fair.
fan, but I hate that ending, period. Regardless of, and especially Kevin Nash being the one to do it, of all people.
I'm just saying, you had a shot. I mean, even if you had Sting beat him, Sting doesn't need it, but Sting was one of the most over
It
acts.
makes sense.
So it's just one of those where it's like I really would have wished that they would have gone more the route of either DDP or somebody along those lines that was a draw in.
Well, who was over
WCW
in '98? DDP was over, obviously. Hogan's always over, but that was a different kind of over. I won't even count that one. And plus, he beat Hogan in Atlanta, in Denver. Who else was over in WCW? Hogan really was the most over guy. So DDP's the only one that made sense. And maybe Sting. That's it.
Let's see. Hold on. Let's go back and look real quick. So that was Starrcade 98.
Correct, and that was in
is
December
the year
of
that he
98,
beat
yes.
him. So going into 98, other guys that were on the show included Billy Kidman, Eddie Guerrero, Norman Smiley, Prince Iaukea, Perry Saturn, Ernest Miller, Conan, Chris Jericho, Eric Bischoff, Ric Flair, DDP, The Giant, Kevin Nash, and Goldberg.
Nash was over. The Wolfpack was over at point too, so it made sense. I just didn't like it.
I'm saying Sting wasn't on here.
I think he took a break. Again.
On the show at all.
He might take another break.
But I'm saying let DDP get the win. I would have said The Giant, but he leaves.
And they
2
killed
months
him
later.
So they killed his character at that point. Leading into that year. So yeah.
Yeah, I would have been
DDP.
a lot happier if even if you let Goldberg win for another 3 or 4 months, and then in like June at Bash at the Beach have a guy like, I don't know, Chris Benoit or Perry Saturn or somebody like that like you could have like built for the next 6 months to be like this unstoppable machine. Like, tell me right now, Chris Benoit with 1 million submissions, like Goldberg, all he does is hit people with spears and jackhammers. You couldn't have taught someone how to counter that into like a chokehold.
And you read that roster too. You read that roster real quick too. Also, talented roster, but none of those guys were really over it at that point in the same way. Oh, time. Joe, go ahead. Joe, go ahead. Jump in.
All right. The one thing I was gonna say is with the you got to remember too, though. Like, I think the sad part is, as much as beating Goldberg would have gotten like somebody over huge, the egos in that company in particular, and maybe in wrestling in general, never would have let somebody who could have actually used it to get over be the one to beat Goldberg. It was always going to be Hogan or Nash or Hall or maybe DDP as the furthest fringe of someone who actually could have used it to get over more than
because
he already
Jericho
was.
wasn't Jericho at that point either. Jericho was still a mid-carder, and
right.
Right.
And they were never going to give it to Benoit. They only even gave him the world title because they were afraid he was going to leave.
And he left.
And
he's gone.
Okay. Yeah. Also, just real quick before we move on to the next topic, my third one was about ECW, and it was going to be the night that they made Mike Awesome lose the title in 4 minutes to Taz. I was gonna say I would have changed that and let Mike Awesome go over someone, because I felt like it was obvious because Awesome showed up on WCW television that he was out and that the fans were already like booing him enough. Having a new guy for the ECW title was just kind of dumb to me. There was enough guys in ECW that could have used the title. He could have had a good 10 to 12 minute match with Tommy Dreamer. He could have had a good 10 to 12 minute match with Masato that he already had good matches with. And I felt like it could have saved face from everybody because at the end of it, it just made Paul look petty and it made WWE look petty.
All right, we got a mystery topic coming in
and I felt like
Rogue 2 now.
So I probably would change that.
So, Joe, what you got for us that we don't know about yet?
I'm gonna propose next week, Ernest. You get to do it. So, all right. Well, my mystery topic be rebellious like Mike. I just didn't think of anything. I did decide on something in the last about 20 minutes. Mike, it's not even what we talked about before.
That's fine.
So Okay, it's gonna be. Like all three of us have watched a decent amount of the recent shows happening, WWE shows, the AEW shows, and that's pretty much everybody. My question to you guys is, and I don't know why, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm like obsessed with this whole audit that I just find really entertaining and really interesting, and I think the uniqueness of it and the fact that it's not gonna last forever, but like no doubt there's going to be a point where we look back on this and it's going to be like, oh, remember that time where like it's going to be its own enclosed little bubble. Like this is an era. This is a thing that, when it's no longer necessary, things will go back to looking different and being back in front of audiences and stuff. And this will be a moment in history to look back on. And as with any of those moments in history, like the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era and stuff like that, we always look back on the people who became stars during that era. So, who do you think has become the biggest stars? Who have gotten the biggest opportunities and gotten to look the best in the no audience era?
AEW, I go Sean Spears, actually.
Austin Theory, Angel Garza, and
this is the most I've seen. This is the most I've seen of them.
I will go
at any point
and say either Sammy Guevara, or Apple Pete.
What I'm saying, he's not terrible. I mean, but it's the first time. This is the most I've seen of him since AEW started.
I mean, no facts. It took a pandemic to get him on TV, but like,
I don't think it'll be Moxley, okay, but obviously. Not agree with Mike on that. On one
thing.
Do
you think that,
like,
when this is said and done, audiences again, that Sean Spears
and he's using the pandemic
a star
in a way,
because of what he did here?
It's kind of like he can be that. He can still be Sammy Guevara even in either situation, whether it's with a crowd, without a crowd. You see how good this guy really is.
Yes.
MJ. Now, granted, we haven't much in the last couple of weeks, but he's another one too. Also, that's at least the first couple of weeks anyway. He's hurt. Fucking gambling with everybody else on the side, so that was pretty cool too. On the WWE side, honestly, I know. On the WWE side, honestly, I mean, Asuka has done a great job. Right, Asuka. I mean, she's amazing. I love her. I mean, I know some people say, "Oh, it's annoying," and it's part of the fun. It's
become part of the fun. Like everybody's favorite female pro wrestler who wasn't already sold on her.
Who else on the WWE side? Let me see. Pluck out of there. That's done well.
It's a character, like it's something
that
like a lot of these other people could really use. Interesting. For me, I think you have to have Asuka. Already pretty popular, obviously, but like she's one of those people that you're kind of realizing that there's certain talents who they're still able to be larger than life, even if there's no crowd there, and they are the ones that are going to be the most beneficial, the ones that you want to have on TV right now. So someone like Asuka, I feel like a large portion of the audience would be perfectly happy if Asuka was on the commentary team at this point, and like on for the whole 3 hours of Raw. They'd probably say that she was their favorite part. You know what I mean? Austin Theory is the person that comes to my mind at first. And Mike, you're right. I agree with you. The whole little stable, the whole little Los Ingobernables, the WWE
Nobles de Entertainment.
De Raw. I think, yes, like they're probably in a position that they wouldn't have been in if the situation wasn't going on right now, and they are becoming big stars out of it, and I could see that carrying over even past this. But Austin Theory to me is the realest example of this, because this dude went from like wrestling in front of 125 people at Evolve 137 to being on WrestleMania, been on NXT TV and Raw, and he's now part of the Raw brand. Nobody to go all of a sudden becoming a huge star. And I think the thing is, he basically got an opportunity, and I think most of that based on he lives in Orlando, and he is also very
with wholeheartedly. So he got a gift, and here's his chance to really go out and prove that he deserves this, that he deserves the things that are going to happen over the next couple of all said and done. You can look back and be like, Braun Strowman really sucking.
I've seen reports online, and this is one of those things where it's like, okay, like, people are stupid. Like, I used to like to do this on a message board that Mike and I used to go on, the Looney Bin. Well, we do still go on there, right? I used to do this. You should totally sign up. I'll send you a link later. But I used to do this thing on there. I called it Obvious Joe News, and I would say something that's like, duh, but like in like a news wrestling website. So I'd be like, sources within WWE say there's a 50% chance that Braun Strowman loses at WrestleMania. There's a 50% chance he also wins. Like no shit, Sherlock. But somehow these news, right? But like these news sites go out of their way to basically say exactly about right now. I saw a thing recently that was like Roman Reigns in hot water, and because he's out of WWE's plans and they're planning to go forward without him, and it's like, no, you fucking morons. He's made it clear he's not going to work a system you can't safely for like a year or two. So yeah, no, what the fuck else are they supposed to do? Like, yeah, like you're stirring the duh. Like your job's going to plan without you if you can't work.
Yeah, it's not like you're saying breaking news. They're going to release Roman Reigns because he's not showing up to do his job. They're planning to move forward without him. Why? Because what are they going to do? Sit here and put a thumb up their ass and wait for him to finally be like, hey guys, my immune system feel better. It doesn't work that way, morons.
Right, exactly.
Bring me heel Roman.
Yeah. They're like tweeners.
I would say that they did whatever the fuck they wanted the first time. Also from the other people on SmackDown have gotten over, since we kind of got sidetracked on that what we were talking about.
Yeah, I thought.
Obviously Bliss Cross Applesauce. Obviously Bray in my mind. The Forgotten Sons getting quote moved up.
That was interesting. Can I be honest? I kind of dig them on SmackDown a little bit. I think they fit there better than NXT.
I kind of agree with you there.
Right.
And then the other one that's really gotten I feel like has gotten over to me really on whatever they decided to do with her is Lacey Evans.
Yeah.
I like that they're having her feud with Sasha, and that neither one of them is really like in the title picture. They're just kind of letting them do their own little feud here while you have Tamina and them going. Oh, and then of course the greatest heavyweight.
What a fucking troll you are, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan of those videos they produce too. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
It's sometimes hard to get through.
Well, and I feel like, it's not live also,
I will say,
so,
if there was any
you're not
time
missing
to
anything.
reinvent
I mean, granted,
him,
it's not their fault it's not live. And I'm glad WWE is going back, too, if that got all worked out.
The Shield was a heel faction, right?
So apparently, remember the whole story was that, it might breach their TV contracts if they were doing recorded shows. So Fox and NBC Universal both apparently talked to WWE and were like, in this instance, it's fine. Like, there's like the world is making things kind of have to be different. So if the safer option is you guys record stuff, then record stuff. So supposedly, for the last report that I saw, Raw was live last night, or like close to live. NXT will be live or close to live tomorrow, and so will SmackDown on Friday. But then
the turbo load starts.
Right. Well, yeah, it's either in the in between or like over the weekend. They're gonna film everything through Money in the Bank. So that's like 3 or 4 weeks worth of stuff right there.
Okay. Less, I think.
Well, was it like May 14th? May
May
10th.
10th, yeah. So you're going to have all of next week's shows and all of the shows. So 2 weeks worth, and then you have Money in the Bank, and then they'll probably.
That's right, a boy.
Well, my guess is they may record a week or so after.
Although,
Money in the
isn't
Bank.
Carmelo now?
So
No, to be fair, I haven't been watching the full-on episodes in a couple weeks. I'm watching the. Joe, I'll tell you again, man. The Raw in 3, the SmackDown in 3 has been helpful, man. When I fall behind, I just watch that shit and get the basis, what's going on the baseline, of feuds and whatnot. And I'll be honest with you, last 2 weeks, AEW, I've been watching them, but I'm watching them later than usual. I'm watching, like, for example, I haven't finished last week's episode. I'm going to finish that tonight.
You know what MVP is going to be Los Ingobernables The Raw.
The Office.
The whole stable. LIR. We're
going
to put the whole stable there because honestly, and talking about it in the last topic really got me there. I'm glad, Mike, you said them, and, I have to agree, but, like, they really have gone... They've gone from being like mid-card acts and in Austin Theory's case, a high school gymnasium act, to being the top heel team on the top heel stable on Raw for the foreseeable future. That's an MVP right there.
Right.
He can MVP any day.
Oh God. I'm gonna go a little off the beaten path here, and I think that this person had a really good promo on Friday Night SmackDown. Wow, you're not even letting me finish. Who do you think it is?
Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
I think she had a really good promo. I love the fact that her and Mandy are actually.
And by the way, Money Bank
kept it going on social media over the weekend. Big fan of that. And I feel like she's someone who, from an in-ring perspective, could be really, really good. And I think that this was what needed to happen. I
do Raw also. Probably Raw after that
friends,
also too.
And I called that it was going to be Sonya long before anybody else really made sense about it. So yeah, I'm going to take Sonya Deville as my MVP this week. I think her promo got her over the hump. For me in this feud / singles thing with Mandy.
I would guess up to like Raw, probably Raw.
But I want to leave it as an open-ended question here to you guys.
So
if you watch
all right, it's time. All right, let's get to our MVPs.
There was a truth will set you free moment. Yes, kind of like that, involving the Daniel Bryan stuff.
Okay, Joe.
Where do you think this leads to?
I don't know.
Yes, and I think the hacker's Mustafa Ali, by the way, just saying. Somebody said that it was him and Chad Gable that they were taking turns.
Oh, like the Killers in Scream.
Yes. So, personally, I think this is going to be keep your friends close but your enemy closer, and that's the reason why Gulak decided to team with Bryan, was so he could learn how to beat Bryan, and then he wants to beat Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
I just gotta say, this is like the best looking group of MVPs
I'll go next.
Had.
My MVP. I'm gonna go. We mentioned earlier. I'm gonna go Sammy Guevara. He's been incredible
Austin
through this
Theory
crowdless
like a 20 out of 10
on AEW. He's been great.
Hector Garza's
so I'll go Sammy.
about
Your boy
to save.
Sammy, Joe. Here we go.
Andrade is probably the least attractive person in the group of like 6 people that we just named. And think about that. He's not unattractive. That's what I'm saying. And like Selena Vega, even I can say she's hot. And,
say it.
Sonya Deville's pretty attractive. And Sammy. This is
I know who it is.
This is like the sexy group.
Sonya, isn't it?
Hold on. This is the what is Jericho's team name for him and Sammy? The Sex Gods. This is the Sex Gods.
This is the Sex God MVPs.
Ski-Bone.
I like him, but also too okay, this is gonna be so nitpicky, but it drove me crazy when he referred to the AEW tag team title as like the AAA something or other belt, because it was clearly the AEW tag team title, and how do you misrepresent your own company's title belt on the show? Yeah, that one sucked.
Yes. The hacker, right?
I love
miss
Jericho.
Excalibur.
So basically, are we never going to get Excalibur and JR and
That's what the hacker, right?
Taz
the
ever
hacker thingy? Or
I mean, not ever again. Just we got JR
I heard that
during
too. I heard that also.
the empty arena match.
That match was retarded, by the way.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that match. Not a fan. Don't waste your time.
Yeah, we're out of time.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll sign up for Twitter during the pandemic. I got nothing else.
Oh my
going on.
God! I want you to sign up for
Sammy,
Twitter and just do obvious
Sonya.
changes.
Yes.
Let's go. All that stuff.
Yeah.
He's looking dude too.
That's what she said.
Good looking dude too. By the way, Sonya.
All right, Muscle Scott.
Whew. Oh
I'm
God,
on
she's
season 4.
fucking gorgeous. She's my number one.
I've watched it before, but I didn't watch it in consecutive order.
Not only that, but
I just watched it last year. Like I got through it in like a month, like back in like last November or something.
yeah.
Well, me and Joe have 2012.
Oh, by the way,
to watch
before we
the
go,
next
what do you think of
episode
Jericho on
the
commentary
name
last 2 weeks?
changed to
Yes.
lovely.
Yeah.
You guys like it?
Okay.
On the No Way Out. Okay,
Right.
bye.
Mm-hmm. he's been a little much too, a little over the top at times. Needs some space with Tony to get some in there, but he's been pretty good. I'm not gonna knock it, but he can be a little much at moments. I'll give him that. Yeah, I miss Excalibur. I ain't gonna lie to you. We will. The Moxley match. Yeah, I've heard bad reviews on that match. But anyway, fellas, anyway, follow Mike on Twitter at they call me Burn BERN. Joe, of course, Twitter is not his thing, but whatever. He likes to troll folks anywhere else on what was it, Looney Bin? What was this website? And of course their podcast, the name Subject Change podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, etc. Fellas, of course, my podcast, Wrestling Podcast, you can check out as well on the same platforms. Guys, I'm glad we got it in last minute. She did say that. I'm a season 8 of The Office, so the worst season of all. So of what? Oh, you watching it too? First time? That's like me, yeah. Same thing as me. I haven't 8. Right. There you go. Again, right. Yep. All right, guys. All right. See you guys later. Bye.